A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. We are on ayat number 24 of Surah Yusuf, and we see that when this woman advances towards Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, Allah says that had he not seen the burhan of Allah, he may not have been able to save himself from her. So this burhan is what the heart said to him, that no, don't do this, this is wrong. This is the burhan from Allah, that Allah gives you that tawfiq of thinking within your heart. But for this you need to give that one pause. Before going into that action, you have to pause and think, is this worth it? And if Allah will guide you, Allah will put it in the heart and show you the burhan that no, this is not worth it, leave it. So what happened was, thus we shielded him from indecency and immodesty. That means saved him from zina, for he was one of our chosen, a sincere devotee. And of course this devotee is also going to prove from time and again that he is a sincere devotee. They both rushed to the door. What was it? In order to stop him, what did she do? She caught him by the shirt, and as a result she ripped off his shirt from the back. At the door they met her husband. Seeing him, she cried, "What punishment does someone who intended evil against your wife deserve except imprisonment or a painful punishment?" So now you see, even if one is being pious, he is still holding on to it. But you see, the matter got from bad to worse, that when she encounters the husband, she puts the blame on him while he is innocent, and then she whispers in her husband's ear that what punishment less can you give him but to put him into the prison, or give him a very painful punishment because he is trying to seduce your wife. So it is an utter lie. But if someone is in a situation where he is being very pious and right, and the other person is going from bad to worse and is evil, what can be the reaction on this side? Why is this happening to me? I am being so pious and still somebody is trying to be a criminal with me. So you see, Allah is testing Hazrat Yusuf from different situations. So what happened was, Yusuf alayhi salam said, it was she who attempted to seduce me. Now, being pious and a sign of piety is not that you don't go into self-defense. You have the right to go in self-defense, and so we see that he defends himself by saying, well, it was her who was seducing me. And then, but the way he comes forward with this self-defense is again in a very honorable way. He did not scream, he did not shout or yell or use a foul language, he did not abuse, but he simply said what was actually true, that it was her who came to seduce me. So now at this, one accusing the other, one member of her own family bore witness. Now you see, when you are true in your intentions and when you are sincere in your character, then Allah helps you from corners that you cannot imagine. From amongst her own family, one person stands up and he says, if his shirt is ripped from the front, then she is speaking the truth and he is lying. Because if he would have been coming to attack her, she would have tried to save herself from him, and so she would have pulled his shirt from the front. But if it is ripped from the back, then he is speaking the truth and she is lying, meaning he was running away. So when he, that is the husband, that is Aziz, saw that Yusuf's shirt was ripped from the back, Aziz said to her, it is one of the tricks of you women. Your tricks, your plans are mighty indeed. That means at this given point, the finance minister Aziz understands that this was the evil coming from his wife and not from Yusuf. Yusuf arid an haza. O Yusuf, say no more about this. Just ignore this event. And you, O my wife, seek forgiveness for your sins, for you were indeed the wrongdoer. وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ تُرَاوِدُ fataha an nafsihi. The women of the city, now what happened, that this incident spread maybe like fire, and so the women of the town started talking about this scandal, saying, the wife of Al-Aziz has seduced her young slave, for she has fallen in love with him. In fact, we see her in fair error. When she heard about these remarks, so how did she play even more evil, that she invited all of them. She invited them and prepared for them a banquet and gave each of them a knife. So when they were all engaged in cutting the fruit, she asked Yusuf alayhi salam to come out before them. When they saw him, they were so amazed that they cut their hands and explained, and they all exclaimed spontaneously, وَقُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ مَا هَذَا بَشَرٌ. Good Lord, he is no human being. Because Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam was very beautiful and very handsome. He is not but an angel. In haza illa malakun kareem. She said, well, this is he about whom you blamed me. No doubt I seduced him. Now you see the level of her modesty here. One, she has the audacity to go and seduce a man, and second is that she is going to confess that yes, it was I who seduced him, but he escaped. If he doesn't do what I say, he will certainly be thrown into prison and he will be debased. So you see that haya is something which is again like a shield. And like Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, that if you don't have haya, then do whatever you like. And this haya is something which we see that it is going away by the day. Whether it is haya in our words, whether it is haya in the clothing, or whether it is haya in maintaining relationships, this is one thing which is the norm of Islam, which should be maintained to the utmost. But we will see that here this is 4,000 years old, and you will see that the similar things are even seen and noticed today. So the evil in a man has been continuing for years and years, and the answer to those problems and issues was even the same 4,000 years ago, and it is the same today. Nobody likes to be immodest. By fitra we all like to be on modesty, but because of the whispering of shaitan, and when we adhere to the whispers of shaitan, this is what happens, that then there is no haya in even saying and confessing. Like we see that in a hadith Qudsi, that if you have committed some sin during the day, then don't go announcing it if Allah has covered it. And if you have committed a sin at night, don't go around announcing it when Allah has covered for you during the night. But here we see when this label is removed, then there is no haya. Yusuf said, "O my Rabb, I would rather go to prison than that to which they invite me." Now here comes the character of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, when he says that, "O Allah, for me I would prefer to choose the prison as compared to choose this opportunity. And unless you ward off their cunning snare from me, I may, that is in my youthful folly, feel inclined towards them and become one of the ignorant." And for him this was not a sign of being modern. In fact, this was a point to save his own iman, that I'd rather go myself, put myself in prison and lock myself, rather than staying in such a situation where I can lose my iman. Thereupon his Rabb granted his prayer and warded off their cunning snare from him. Had he been living here with them, he may have faced these situations time and again. So what happened, that Allah listened to his dua and then he was put into prison. Surely he hears all and knows all. Even after all the evidence they had seen that Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam was innocent and the guilt of the women, they thought it proper to send him to prison for a while. Because now Aziz is the finance minister of the city, and his wife of course is very influential at the same time. So if they don't put Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam into prison, then this will become a minus point for the family. So to save yourself from such situations, then what they thought was, although they knew that he was innocent, they still put him into jail. 2 young men also entered the prison along with him. So then when he went to the prison, there were 2 other prisoners as well. One day one of them said, I saw in a dream that I was pressing wine, and the other one said, I saw in a dream that I was carrying bread on my head, of which birds were eating. Tell us the interpretation of these dreams, for we see that you are a man of virtue. That means during his time in the prison, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam must have maintained a character and conduct which was so virtuous that these 2 prisoners come and they talk about their dreams, and we had already read that Allah Ta'ala gave him this wisdom of understanding and interpreting the dreams and events. So Yusuf alayhi salam replied, I will with Allah's permission tell you the interpretations of these dreams. Now do you notice in this simple ayah that I am going to interpret the dreams, but this I am going to do by the will of Allah. Again, there is no credit or merit taken here. Tell you the interpretations of these dreams before you are served the food to eat. This is part of the knowledge which my Rabb has taught me. So the entire claim is given to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam is not taking the claim on him. What does this show? This shows humility. The more knowledgeable we are, that means the more humble we should be. Allah gave him this knowledge, and he gives the credit in return to Allah. This is being a Mohsin. He had all the right to take the credit, because he is giving answers to interpretation, so he can take the credit. But a Mohsin and a person who is a Mu'min will always give the credit to Allah. And so in return we see that he said that this is something which has been given to me by my Rabb. And even if you remember, in fact, I have forsaken the faith of those people who do not believe in Allah and even deny the hereafter. I follow the faith of my forefather Ibrahim, Ishaq and Yaqub. It is not befitting that we attribute any partners with Allah. Now here this was a golden opportunity for Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam to come up as a da'i and introduce the Tawheed of Allah. And not missing this opportunity, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam introduces Allah, introduces Tawheed, and tells them on the faith that he was. It is the grace of Allah on us and on mankind that yet most of the people are not grateful. O my fellow inmates, tell me what is better, many different lords or one Allah, the irresistible. Those you serve besides him are nothing but mere names which you and your forefathers have invented, for which Allah has revealed no sanction. The command belongs to none but Allah, who has commanded that you worship none but him. Yet most of the people do not know. O my fellow inmates, one of you will be released and serve wine to your Lord, that is the king of Egypt. Now he knew that which one of them will be able to escape his death sentence and which one of them will get the death sentence, and the other will be crucified and the birds will eat from his head. That's how your cases will be decided concerning which you inquire. That it means that this is the answer to your questions. They say that the dream is tied to a bird's leg as long as it is not truthfully interpreted. If it is interpreted, then it becomes a reality. He said, mention me to your Lord. Now Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, knowing that one of them is going to get out of the prison and he will be saved, so he told him that once you get out, go and mention my name to your master. But Shaitan made him forget to mention, that is Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, to his Lord. So he remained in the prison a few more years. And this word, فَلَبِسَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِدْءَ سِنِينَ. Bid'a sinin refers to years from 3 to 9. So that means Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam again had to remain in the prison for between 3 to 9 years. One day what happened was, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ إِنِّي أَرَى سَبْعَ بَكَرَاتٍ سِمَانٍ يَأْكُلُهُنَّ سَبْعٌ إِجَافٌ وَسَبْعَ سُنْبُلَاتٍ خُضْرٍ وَأُخَرُ يَابِسَاتٍ. One day the king of Egypt said, I saw 7 fat cows in my dream which were eaten up by 7 lean cows. Likewise I saw 7 green ears, that is spikes of corn, and 7 others that dried up. O chiefs, tell me the meaning of my dream if you can interpret dreams. They replied, confused nightmares. We are not skilled in the interpretation of dreams. Thereupon one of the two inmates who was released remembered Yusuf after all that time, and he said, I will tell you its interpretation. That means he remembered Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, because he also had told him that once you get out, go and mention my name to your master, which he had forgotten. So now he remembered Yusuf. So what he said was, I will tell you the interpretation, just send me to the prison where Hazrat Yusuf was. So when he came to Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam in the prison, he said, O Yusuf, the truthful one, tell us the meaning of the dream of 7 fat cows which are eaten up by 7 lean cows, and of 7 green spikes of corn and 7 others dried up, so that I may return to the people and let them know the meaning of this dream. He replied, you will cultivate for 7 consecutive years. During this time you should leave the corn you reap in the ear, that is the spike, except what may be sufficient for your food, meaning leave what you need to consume and leave the rest in the spikes. Then after that period there will come upon you 7 hard years which will eat away all that you have stored, except a little which you may have specifically set aside. After that period will come a year of abundant rain, in which the people will squeeze the juice, that is of olives and grapes, and they will have abundant food. Now when this interpretation was taken back to the king said, bring this man to me. When the messenger came to Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, go back to your master and ask him about the case of those women who cut their hands. Indeed, my Rabb has full knowledge of their snare. The king, what happened was, now when this man went back and gave this message, so the king called in those women. The king questioned those women, saying, what do you say about the incident when you attempted to seduce Yusuf? They replied, God forbid, we know of no evil on his part. The Aziz's wife said, now that the truth has come to light, it was I who attempted to seduce him. In fact, he is absolutely truthful. And if you will see here, that at times it can be that nobody brings in the witnesses, or the witness denies, just like she was going from bad to worse in her evil, she could have denied here also. But you see, when one is faithful, sincere to Allah, and one puts the trust in Allah that Allah is going to bring me out clear and pure, you see that that same person steps forward and says, he is truthful and I am the one to be blamed. ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمَ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْهُ بِالْغَيْبِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. Yusuf alayhi salam said, by this inquiry I meant to let him, that is Al-Aziz, know that I did not betray him in his absence, and that Allah does not let the snare of the treacherous succeed. So he wanted to make it very clear before he even came out of the prison. That means that when he was put in the prison, he was put in a wrong way. He was innocent and yet he was put in the prison. Now when he is coming out of the prison, he wants to make it clear that I was never a criminal here, and I would never do something to betray my master while he was away. And so with this we see that he had cleared his situation and his position. And now inshallah, when we come back and start the 13th juz, we will continue Surah Yusuf. With this we end our juz today. Wa akhiru dawana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.